Equal opportunities. As a coach, you need to make sure that everyone has the equal right to play and exercise. Ability levels, gender, age, and other particular groups should not halt the learning and improvement of anyone. The coach needs to make sure everyone can join in if they want to, so they are able to improve their performance. You should not be prejudiced in any way whatsoever to anyone. Um, they should attempt to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable enough to learn what they are getting taught so that they are able to join and improve their performance. An example of this is if a coach in PE in a primary school is taking a lesson and someone keeps making mistakes in a football session, the coach should not go over and ask him if he wants to sit out because the task is too hard. This is against what a coach is there for. He is there to improve the team or class. In a elite athlete world, it wouldn't make any effect or impact at all because they're all professionals and it's their job, it's their profession, so they'll have an opportunity in anyway because the team's obviously bought them, so they obviously see that they've got potential or they've got a good skill set or they're very good at their sport because they're a professional, obviously. It probably will have an impact in non-elite athletes because some people may not like certain team, like the manager may not like a certain team member, so they might ask them to sit out. Um, but yeah, in team sports, they might have less opportunity for if they have a big squad because there may be someone that's equal to another player, but there's obviously only one spot for that particular position. So they may, if they have equal opportunities, they would rotate it. But if they don't, then they just choose one and then just use one as a stub. Whereas in individual sport, there's only one place, so they'll always get an opportunity to play because at any level they'll always get an opportunity because there's only one place. There's no one competing for that place because you're your own person, you're not in a team. Health and safety. This is a very important part of coaching. This is due to the fact that if anyone gets injured, it is their responsibility. They should be focused on first aid before the session, during the session, and after session. They should be risk assessing all the time. They should be risk assessing the facilities, the sports they're doing for the students themselves, equipment, and even the walk over from the car park. This is important so that the participants are always safe throughout the whole session, before the session, and after the session. This is much more important when coaching children rather than the adults because there is much less responsibility when taking a group of adults because they are they're more switched on and they don't want to hurt themselves rather than children just being stupid and hurting themselves. And but the risk assessing still needs to be done to ensure during the session nothing will go wrong because if it does, it will be your responsibility anyway, no matter how old they are. Obviously, health and safety won't be varies with different sports. Like golf won't be a massive health and safety issue because it's just hitting the ball. There's no contact or anything. Whereas rugby, health and safety is a massive issue. They need to ensure that they use the right bags, they use the right studs because if they don't, people are going to get hurt. If they're playing with an injury, the coach needs to make sure that all of their players aren't playing with an injury. Otherwise, it could make it worse, which therefore will be the coach's fault. I think coaches in elite situations are much more likely to be more responsible and more careful because the players they're playing with, like Premier League footballers, are worth millions of pounds. So they're going to take extra precautions to stop them from getting injured rather than non-elite athletes that no one really, the only people that they care about really are children. Whereas in non-elites, like Sunday teams, it's just taking people out as hard as you can. That's how the players look at it. But managers obviously try to look after their team and try to play football, but you'll get a team that just want to ruck, really. Knowledge of coaching environment. Just as performers, you should aim to improve to the next level, like club, county, regional, national, international. As a coach, as a responsible coach, you should go to seminars, workshops to get higher grade qualifications. To when so this is so that you can keep up to date with legislations, new rules, new regulations to all of the sports. An example of this would be a coach will need to keep up to date with all of the legislation so that he is able to coach the right stuff to his team. This is why it's important, because it's your responsibility to keep everyone safe, and so that you're teaching them the right stuff. Skills. Communication. This includes eye contact, being loud and clear, talking to everyone, and then getting feedback from the participants, which then allows you to get your point across. This is a very important skill for a coach. This is because they need to be able to talk to the participants so that they are able to say what they need to, and then they should do this in a loud and clear manner so that everyone is able to hear them in the group and understand them. When they are taking a large group, then they need to be able to tell everyone in the group how to do a specific drill or to give a specific instruction. This is important so that they are able to perform the right technique, do the drill correctly, hear any health and safety points that the coach needs to make. The other side to the communication is that they need to be able to listen to the participants. This is important so that they are able to get feedback from them. An example of this is that if the individual is struggling with a specific aspect of the drill, then the coach is able to put them right and tell them how exactly, like, the different coaching points of the technique, so they can put it right. Communication is totally and utterly vital through elite and non-elite. The elite players need to communicate a lot with their coach and their other teammates, but it's, I suppose, with non-elite athletes, the coach needs to be talking to the players more, as they aren't as they don't know as much as the elite athletes. They don't know what they should be doing at different points, so the coach needs to tell them what to do and give clear instruction. In team sports such as football, rugby, basketball, there needs to be a constant communication with all of the teammates from the coach. But whereas tennis, the coach sits in the stands and that just has to watch. But they talk to them before, obviously, and afterwards, but they can't talk to them during the... This is when the coach looks at a group of players or an individual, and he then identifies the strengths and weaknesses. This is a very important skill for a coach, so that they are able to see what they are good at and what they could improve on. If they're able to see what they can improve on, then they are able to work out what they can do to help this with specific drills and training. For example, in their last game, a midfielder made 100 passes, but only 25 passes of those were successful. Then their coach would be able to see this, and they then will be able to come up with drills and training so that they are able to make their passing more accurate. Also, if they see what their strengths are in a game, then they can let the players see what they've done well and how they've done it well. This then starts to build confidence and self-belief in the player. This is much easier with elite athletes, because they have the equipment and the resources to actually have the proper analysing equipment, whereas non-elite athletes would probably just have to settle for just a tally sheet. Variety of sports use this. Pretty much all of the sports that are put on TV that you constantly see like in football, the possession stats or shots on target, and even in tennis, total opposite. Individual sports, they have how fast the shot was made, how many returns they've made, how many aces they've made. Problem solving. This is important for a coach so that they are able to find out what the problem is, how it occurred, and how they make it right. This is important because there will always be problems when coaching. It will never go exactly to plan. A useful tool that helps with this is that after every session they self-evaluate the session and how they performed. This will allow the coach to see what they have done well, what they've done wrong, and what they could have done differently in the future. This is important for the improvement of the coach, and if the coach improves, then so will the people he is coaching, as he will be able to provide a better service. Every good coach has to be able to problem solve. It is about adapting to what you have. This is much more likely to occur if the person is coaching children from limited equipment or facilities. You are less likely to have problems to occur in the elite teams. This is due to the fact that everything is done much more professionally. You may have the odd injury argument, but other than that, there is little that will go wrong. Qualities. Knowledge of skills in sport. This is important to have knowledge of the skills so that they are able to develop and improve the performers they are coaching. This is important because if the coach has little or no knowledge of the skills, then they will struggle to improve the players due to the fact that they won't really know what they are on about, and if they don't know what they are on about, then how can they teach the performer how to do a specific skill or technique? Although if a team or individual is non-elite, then it is more acceptable to have less knowledge as a coach, but they should still have a reasonable understanding of the right technique/skill. Whereas if they are elite coaches, they need to have perfect understanding of particular skills so that they are able to improve the professionals that are at the top of their game already. An example of this is that in training sessions, the coach will set drills up to improve specific weaknesses in the team from previous games to try and improve the team. For example, if they weren't getting enough shots on goal and they were trying to walk the ball into the net, then they would be able to set up drills so that they pass up the pitch and then have to shoot. Knowledge of laws. This is so that the coaches are able to teach the correct and up-to-date laws to the people they're coaching. An example of this is years ago, in football you were able to pass back to the goalkeeper and he was able to pick the ball up. But now if that happens, then a free kick would be given away. This is much more important for younger athletes. This is because they don't know the rules as well as the older athletes do. Older athletes, whether they be elite or non-elite, will know the rules of the game. This is important so that they are able to play towards the rules of the game. If they keep giving away free kicks, free throws, or any fouls at all, then this will have a massive negative impact on their game. In most sports, rules change from year to year, from decade to decade, so coaches need to be kept up. Understanding physical needs. This is when they have the correct qualifications so that they are equipped with the correct skills to deal with any situation so that they are able to understand and deal with the players needed. This is strongly linked with disabled students. When you are coaching a class of various disabilities, then they have lots of needs that they need. For example, if they are in a wheelchair, they will need to have wheelchair access to the building whilst taking part, and coach needs to organise a sport or exercise that they are able to do. Or if there is a blind person, they need to be able to have a helper to show them where the walls are and the general boundaries of the facility. And if they are doing a ball sport, that there needs to be a bell in the ball so they are able to hear it. Elite athletes. Patience. This is the willingness to suppress annoyance when confronted or someone is disrespecting you. This is a key characteristic for a coach because they have to deal with the bad children as well as the good. They will get shouted at, insulted, and sometimes even assaulted. They have to deal with this and not just get angry when confronted. They need to be cool, calm, and collected. This is very important so that they don't do anything that is unprofessional. Example of this is when a coach has a naughty child and they won't listen, and because they won't listen, they tell them off, and when the child thinks they're getting picked on, so they go nuts at the coach, and this is when the coach needs to be very patient. This is so that they are able to remain professional and not insult the child.